Hello and welcome to the Housing Minute. My name is Samuel Gunter and I'm the Executive Director of the North Carolina Housing Coalition. And I'm coming to you today on a Wednesday after what's been a long week at the General Assembly. On Monday, we were there for a GovOps subcommittee meeting on Hurricane Helene Recovery, where there was a lot of talk about gaps in the recovery from Hurricanes Matthew and Florence. You can read more about that in Housing Matters below. And then on Tuesday, all day, in addition to things like leadership elections, we saw a massive bill drop, be considered, and pass that, while it said it was a disaster recovery bill, it mostly included a whole bunch of other stuff that you can read about elsewhere. There's a lot to say about that, and I'd encourage you to read more detail in Housing Matters below. But as a highlight, I just want to say that we don't have a federal disaster allocation yet. And while it seems that we might move more quickly on that than we did after Hurricane Florence, which took 2 years after Hurricane Florence to get half of what we requested, it's not here yet. And the General Assembly seems to be waiting on the federal government to allocate before they really go in on an investment in the West, a real investment for housing recovery in the West. And in the meantime, folks are trying to make decisions. What was conspicuously absent from this legislation, in addition to just money, was the ability for the state to get started on what eventually will come from the federal government. What is critical for folks on the ground whose houses were impacted is to have a sense of what that recovery process is going to look like, so they can start making some decisions about what's best for their families, how they want to navigate it. In addition to that long-term vision, the other piece that's out there is we are still without an eviction moratorium and without any kind of real rental assistance for other folks impacted by the storm. More than 160,000 homes. The housing market in the West is in a very rough spot at the moment. And it is going to be critical to keep the folks who have a home in their homes while we figure out how to house everyone else, especially with winter coming. Again, the highlight for this whole thing, Monday's hearing, the legislation passed yesterday, and what we are waiting from the federal government and from the state government is that we have a long recovery ahead of us. And we need to be marshaling all the resources we possibly can to meet that challenge. Again, you'll find details below. If you are in the West in particular, it's a good time to be reaching out to your delegation, and you'll read more about how you can do that below. We'll see you next time.